What's good, y'all? It's that boy, Easy Millions, and I'm your host of That Boy ETV. You already know, man, we are back on Marvel Rivals, and you know what? I finally told myself, we at least, even though we don't play competitive the way we used to, where we're not a hard time grinder, we're at least going to make sure that we get to gold. And to be honest with you, I need to probably at least make sure I get into platinum so that, and even though I think I was platinum last year, so diamond might have to be the bare minimum for me. This way, when it resets, I'm already in gold, because I'm telling you now, without bans, it's the wild, wild west, and I just didn't want to have to deal with that. You get what I'm saying? But I went in the other day and I said, you know what, we gonna play the game for at least an hour, win or lose. Win or lose, you're gonna get on and you're gonna play for at least an hour, right? Well, I ended up getting on and I actually had a really good experience, right? For the first time in a while, I actually got on the competitive and my teammates weren't brain dead. And I was actually proving that some good teammates do actually exist in this game. Now, the gameplay in the background is not the game I'm talking about, but it'll eventually come out, and when it does, I'll point that out. But let me just tell you a little story when I got on, right? So I flex when I play competitive, and I went into the game, and healers got picked first, which is surprising. The first pick was actually a Cloak and Dagger, and then it was followed up by a DPS and then Rocket. So I was actually surprised that, healers got picked up as fast. So I went ahead and came into the game as Scarlet Witch, right? And then I forgot who the other players had, but that's irrelevant. So when we get into the game, the guy that plays Rocket goes, hey, y'all are always quick to pick DPS, to lock in DPSs. Y'all need to be locking in healers, right? So me being a good teammate, I get on the mic. Now, mind you, this Rocket picked his person third in the order. He was the third person to pick, so he didn't have to pick healer, right? So I get on the mic and try to be a good teammate, and I say, hey, bro, if you really want to, I'll play healer and you can have DPS. I really don't mind. You can play that. Now, normally, when I get on the mic and I say something like this, even though I don't have no type of ego behind it, I'm not, saying it with an attitude or anything, usually it's responded to by a person with an ego, or they got to say something stupid. Like, I'm pretty sure y'all understand what I'm talking about, where you'll be like, hey, if you want to switch, we could do that. And then the person's like, oh, no, what, you think you're trash? Oh, I'm not trash. I know what I'm doing. We all know how these people are, right? So, first off, he was playing with a homeboy, and his homeboy goes, you know what, you're a W teammate. I'm like, I'm trying to be, you know what I'm saying? And then the guy goes, no, don't worry about it. So we're playing, and while we're playing, our healers are getting butt raped by a damn Spider-Man, right? So the Spider-Man is out there dogging him out, and we're like, man, we need something to do with the Spider-Man. So I go, all right, guys, hey, I could play Namor for y'all, and that should, negate some of the Spider-Man. So their players are like, oh, yeah, let's do it, man, let's do it. So then I go Namor for them, and then while we're playing, right, all of a sudden we start being more and more successful. All of a sudden the team starts pushing, and everyone on the team is making call-outs, calling out low-level players, calling out when people are diving them so that we can turn around and peel. I mean, it felt great, right? It felt really good. It did actually give me some hope that, if I do plan on getting back on here and doing this again more full-time, that I will have more experiences like this than what I was having when I was grinding all the time, which was ego-driven maniacs or people just quitting the game, just leaving the game, right? So I was proven wrong that that there aren't any good teammates, because there really are. You just have to go out there and find them and be willing to take advice from your teammates. No matter how good you are, there might be something you don't know that someone else could tell you or give you advice on. Like another thing, like with me, when he said, hey, Spider-Man's dogging us out, Can we get a character swap, to help us out? I could have came on the mic and been like every other normal random, oh, y'all just complaining, do better, you're just trash, play better. But instead, I made the choice to go ahead and swap to Namor to go ahead and give our team the better way to win. That's what they asked for. That's what happened. So again, this has to do with understanding when to actually swap your character as well, because sometimes people might suggest a character swap even though you really don't need to. But I'm gonna be honest, if you're out there as a DPS and you're negative on the scoreboard, we probably need a character swap. You know what I'm saying? Now the bad thing is when you're a DPS, you can primarily only swap over to like a tank or something, unless you're swapping with somebody. But also remember too that depending on the role you're playing also determines the way you can switch. If you're a healer, you basically can't switch unless someone switches with you. That's pretty much how that's going to work, right? Now, if you're DPS or tank, you can kind of flip-flop between the two. Depending on how the team comp is and how the game is currently going, you could pretty much team swap between the two. So again, just understand when to swap characters, and if you're going to be swapping roles, make sure you're not in a role, or if you're basically the only one that has to worry about this is strategist primarily. If you're a strategist and you're trying to swap roles, please make sure you actually swap with somebody and don't just come off strategist. Also, DPS players, if you're playing like shit, don't automatically just go to healer, especially if you're going to pick a healer that requires you to aim. If you can't aim with your DPS character, you're probably not going to be able to aim and heal properly. Maybe you should play someone like Rocket or Cloak and Dagger where you don't have to aim. If you're having bad times hitting people with your DPS, you're going to have a hard time hitting people to heal them. Okay? So let's understanding character swapping and how to actually do it. Remember, tanks can swap to DPS and can change the tank all they want. DPS can swap between all the DPS characters and even swap over the tank without really concerning their teammates. Now, if you're a strategist, in order to swap off of strategist, you must swap with a teammate. You cannot just swap off and leave one strategist out there. And last but not least, if you're DPS and you're pooping it up, if you're playing like straight dog water, do not automatically switch to strategist to save face. And then all of a sudden, you're down in damage with 3 healers, and you're trying to figure out why y'all can't kill nobody. Okay? Can we please do that? And the last thing I want to touch on before I get up out of here is, please start taking your teammates' advice. Now, if your teammate gets on the mic and starts giving you advice with an attitude or an ego or some type of crazy tone, then yes, of course, let that shit go in one ear and out the motherfucking other. You feel me? That's how that shit should work. But for the most time, if a teammate is coming on in a calm voice and just suggesting something for the team that should help y'all play better, let's not just catch an attitude thinking we're the greatest players on the planet, and actually listen to see if the criticism is good and can actually help the team, man. But let me know how y'all feel, man. Do y'all believe me? And do y'all still feel that the average teammate is still good? Or do you feel the average teammate is still dog water? Let me know. And then also down there, let me know how y'all feel. Do y'all agree with my logic and character swapping? And how do y'all feel when your random teammates try to give y'all some advice, man? Let me know down in them comments, and let's get a conversation started, man. But I'm going to leave y'all off with the rest of this gameplay here in the background, and I hope y'all enjoy that, man. But as always, please like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, become a supporter, and catch me streaming on Facebook Gaming and Twitch at DatBoyETV. Now, catch you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.